We're here in the beautiful Amsterdam Blockchain Expo. We meet interesting people like Andrea Bonaceto from Eterna Capital. How are you doing, Andrea?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing fine. Last time we met also in Amsterdam, some while back. Eterna Capital is like a VC fund focusing on blockchain, crypto technologies. You can probably explain better.
Exactly. So you said it perfectly. We're a VC fund. We invest in blockchain technology, companies using blockchain technology, early stage, both token and equities. I started the fund with other three guys that used to work at BlackRock in London. And yeah, we are early investors in the space. We tend to support the project as well with our network, so we have a quite hands-on approach. And yeah, at the moment we have made the 4 investments. We're about to make another one, and yeah, out of now it looks quite promising.
All right. Yeah, one of the names you mentioned is Algorand. Why Algorand? I mean, why this investment?
I mean, I think he's pretty much one of the best teams in the space, trying to solve one of the most important problems in the space, which is creating a blockchain platform which is at the same time scalable, decentralized and secure. The founder is one of the, let's say, father of modern cryptography, Silvio Micali. He's an MIT professor of computing science. He's the winner of the Turing Award, which is the equivalent of the Nobel Prize for Computing Science. So, you know, who better than him can start cracking, you know, this issue. And the CEO of Algorand is as well a very experienced business person, Steven Kokinos. He started 3 companies before Algorand. One got acquired, the second one went public, the third one is now worth more than $1 billion. And now is Algorand. So I think they both have good track records on doing good job, and that's for us very important.
Yeah, one of the recent things was of course the auction. Quite successful, I think. Within a few hours the auction got sold out. Huh? I mean, why this new way to raise money?
I think Algorand experimented a very innovative way of fundraising. They went for a Dutch auction, but with a money back guarantee. So basically they are saying, okay guys, we are very bullish on the project. If you buy in the auction and after a year you're like, you know what, I don't like the project and I change my mind, we give you back part of the money that you invested. If the price of the auction is bigger or equal than $1, we give you back 90%. So basically you are exposed only 10% on the downside. And as you know, one of the main issues with blockchain crypto investment is like, okay, it's high risk, I might lose all my money. And here they're telling you, look, you give us the money, you still have the exposure on the upside, but if things do not go as expected, we give you back 90% if the price is above $1. And the closing price of the auction that just finished yesterday was $2.4. So very successful, and yeah, they did a very good job, and I think is a big innovation also that other companies can take from.
What makes them better than, for instance, Ethereum or EOS? I mean, what makes them different?
Well, they are, let's say, the only platform that claims to have solved the so-called blockchain trilemma of being at the same time secure, scalable, and decentralized. So compared to Ethereum, they are able to process more transactions while still maintaining a decentralized nature. We know that every time, you know, there were companies claiming that, you know, oh, we have a super scalable blockchain, maybe they were super centralized, right? So we saw that a lot in 2017 in particular, right? At a certain point, everyone was launching a new blockchain platform. The team did not have any real track record, but anyway, they were doing it. And then you ask yourself, okay, is it so easy? Then why, you know, someone didn't do it before? Apparently it's not so easy. But yeah, the main innovation of Algorand is this, and they are mostly focusing to start with on the financial sector, which is a very big industry. But you know, now we are looking forward to see applications built on top of it. And then it's worth mentioning that on top of Algorand, there is also an ecosystem fund called Eterna Capital, which is only investing on platforms that are building on top of Algorand, that they have a sort of, you know, relationship with Algorand. So this again shows how you know, bullish everyone is on this project.
So yeah, let's one step back. I mean, you have this VC fund. You see in the space some funds are mixing equity and also trading liquid assets like cryptocurrencies. But you focus primarily on the equity side. Has that a reason?
I mean, we invest in both token and equities, but when we invest in token, we normally invest at the very early stage, so we don't go on exchange and buy already trading assets. In general, I think it's important to like separate the two and ensure that you are set up, like in our case, we are set up with like PE structure pretty much. Then in some cases, you might get tokens also because there might be situations where you invest in the equity of a company and then you also get a bit of tokens on top of that. But I think that when you mix that with then, let's say, trading on the market with a certain, trading strategy is a bit, you're doing like too many things in the same box. It's better to separate the two. So we are not doing at the moment the trading part, but of course that's also something interesting if you do have like interesting strategy.
Okay. So let me see, and then of course, are you also considering like STOs, like security tokens? Is it something? I mean, it's quite a hot topic now. So
yeah, very hot topic, and I want to make like to explain properly what our thoughts on STOs because it's interesting. So first of all, it's important to do to think about definitions. So security tokens and tokenized securities are not the same thing. Tokenized security, you take a security, you take real estate, you tokenize that, okay? You have a lot of benefits on top of fractional ownership, even in terms of you want to transfer property from A to B, you can do it in a faster and more cost-effective way. I was speaking with a large real estate investor who was telling me, what process I have to go through every time, I buy a property. There is the notary, and then, there are a lot of steps, and then it takes a few days, and it's expensive, etc. So if we manage to tokenize that part, I do see a lot of value into that, right? Yeah, of course. Then there is the security token, right? Security token is you take a token, you give the token certain characteristics such that is classified as a security, right? So on that is something that I think, are yet to see very successful use cases, and there are several roadblocks that will need to be tackled before this can become mainstream. Just to mention a few of them, liquidity. You can do that, you can create a security token, whatever, but if there is no liquidity, like the technology is a mean to an end, then who wants to trade that, right? And then you need to have a very clear regulation, right? You need to have a situation where you have regulated exchanges and everyone is happy with that, and you can, like this product can trade on these exchanges, right? And then, as I said, even if they do that, then you need to have liquidity. And then
volume.
Yeah. And then one thing also that is worth mentioning is there is a certain degree of concentration risk, right? Because in the security market, normally each one has different roles, right? Now is basically a situation where you are accentrating everything in one block. And so there is an additional layer that, is worth considering. So our view on STOs is right now is still quite early. We have no rush in coming in. Because we were in a situation, I remember last year where I had the feeling that people were trying to ride the next wave. ICO was one wave. Now let's see if STO works as the next wave. Everyone was launching an exchange for security token offerings. Everyone was tokenizing everything, and then you're like, okay, last year it looked like if I don't invest in a week, I'm gonna miss the boat. And this year, you're pretty much the same situation, right? So our experience as Eterna Capital, we think there is no rush in getting into it. We are observing the space. We are, looking forward to develop, right? We're looking forward for the space to develop. If we get everything in the right place, regulation, liquidity, etc., is something that can become extremely big and very interesting. But is something where we need to wait, I think, a bit more. And then if you ask whether, let's say, we would be investing in a tokenized real estate platform, for instance, right? As Eterna, maybe we could consider the equity of a company using blockchain to tokenize assets, but I don't think we'll really invest in tokenized real estate, because if you think about that, this is the profile of real estate fund. So if you're a real estate fund, you invest in real estate, right? If you are a blockchain fund, you do want to get exposure into the blockchain technology as a whole, right? You want to have this breakthrough innovation got to your LPs, right? It's not about investing in, in the end, a real estate business with a certain fixed rate of returns that, yes, it's on the blockchain, but from a return perspective, it's still as a normal real estate.
Okay. Two topics. The Libra it's an open source blockchain. They have an association in Switzerland with lots of companies, PayPal, Uber, and of course also Facebook. What's your comment on that, on the Libra token or the Libra coin?
I think, when one of the largest companies in the world, such as Facebook, enters the space, we should only be happy about that. This shows how far we came in terms of, in terms of how people are looking at this new technology. I feel that now, it's pretty much understood that it's going to have a substantial impact on society, and big corporates, they need to move. They need to embed that into their systems. So, having said that, of course, the Libra coin is something that starts with a few funding members that are the ones that will first manage the network, right? Then I read, that the expectation is to make it completely open and decentralized. We need to see how this evolves. But as I said, I think that is a very good sign for the industry to have a corporate like Facebook entering the space, and it's something that could also give adoption, a real adoption in terms of people using it. Then I know that some people will tell you, oh, this is not blockchain, it's not even a cryptocurrency because it's centralized and Facebook is a private company. But I think that even though the end goal would be to have a borderless economy where you lose sometimes even this private organization layer, but you should also be pragmatic, right? You should try to fit that into existing infrastructure. The existing infrastructure we live in is you have private companies, there is me and you, we are talking as individual, trust is an element, and you need to basically factor that in, and so it's a very positive development in my opinion.
And what kind of companies will be disrupted by the Libra chain? Will it be banks, payment providers, or also Stellar or Ripple?
I think if you think that the large part of the banking sector is based on things like the SWIFT protocol, that basically if I send money to China, it takes days to arrive, I pay outrageous fee. It's doesn't make sense, right? It's something that doesn't make sense. So it will definitely disrupt that. For cross-border payments, people should not pay pretty much anything, right? It should be a frictionless movement of money. So one point also that Libra coin addressed was about the banking the unbanked argument, saying that there are many people with pretty much no financial track records, that it's very difficult for them to open bank accounts, and with something like that, you could include them in the financial system. So I do see that as a driver also of positive social impact to include people in the financial system. So I think providers will need to adapt and to ensure that basically moving money across the board is a frictionless experience and is very cost effective. Who doesn't do that will be disrupted, because in the end, when me and you want to send money abroad, we just care that it's cheap and it's fast, and whoever provides that, you probably use it.
All right. We end with the personal question is, what are your 3 favorite cryptocurrencies? Of course you can shield your own projects, but
okay, you asked me to shield the projects then. One, like as I said, Algorand is a very good project. As well, other investments we made are Definity. Now you cannot see my T-shirt, but I have a Definity T-shirt now.
Why?
Very interesting project on the cloud computing space. Eterna Capital, they're also here, is again a promising project. They're using, no, they're not even using blockchain. They are using a DAG, so it's platforms like IOTA. And we have also invested in Origin Protocol, which is quite interesting. So I think, projects we are bullish on, of course, are projects we invested in. Then, of course, you know very well that the VC game is not a game where all the investments you make succeed. But I think among the ones we made, we identified some good companies, and we are.
Is there like a fifth one or sixth one you're eyeing? Or?
Yeah, there is, but we are yet to, let's say, publicly announce that, and we're still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for your time, and all the best with all the business. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.